done. I'm just having chewing a lozenge for my allergies. Cologne, it smells like, it's just maybe my natural, nice aroma.
Oh, we do have executive session.
Yeah, we have just a couple of things to
That
talk
might be a
about.
good time to do that, I think.
Do you think I should, do you think that other thing was okay, that amendment that I sent you today? Should I just go print a regular hard copy of
Yeah.
that draft?
Yeah, I honestly didn't look at it, but I would think it would be if it's based on what we talked about, yeah. Yeah, it's just, it's
Well,
a,
I'll wait, I'll
it's a
just do
rider.
the draft after. I'll just change my draft.
Is Doug coming?
hello, Michael.
Hello.
No.
Oh, good. I wasted 85 pages of my paper and forgot it on my desk. Thank you very much.
Print it out because.
Volvo convertible, huh?
That's the wife's car.
What happened?
His wife got a
That's
nice,
the truck wife.
she replaced her car with a convertible Volvo.
Oh,
And she proceeded to get a 5% pay cut. The whole company took a 5% pay cut. All the docs, all the nurses, all the mid-levels.
that's too bad.
Am I sitting here?
Good,
Am I sitting here? That was a question.
please.
Your
Is your name there?
name is there.
I hope so.
I'm sitting here.
I do have
Put us
places.
on yet.
Dougie should be watching us from home.
Yeah, he called me the other day.
You ready?
I think he was lonely.
And if you all are, let's stand up and do the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to call the meeting to order. The first item is department heads, and I see one department head back there, and I see a liaison here as well. The idea is this is the ongoing communications aspect that we talked about. The idea is to have this once a month, the various departments can come in and talk about what's going on and hear what we're up to. And David Silvernail was here, right. So, Ed, did you want to talk about your department at this point?
I am preparing to close my house in the middle of the budget situation. There's some of the rules and information I'm not aware of. And proceeding to look at those options. I did have a couple of questions about annual town meeting, the bylaw that was passed about outstanding bills that are owed to the town.
Okay.
And I just want the board's take on what we should be doing when people come for permits, leasing land, or whatever we're involved with that have outstanding bills to the town. Is that anything? Is that a particular piece of property? I just think that we need a directive on that. Since many departments that deal with money, and we have people that have outstanding balances, some go back a year, year and a half.
Sure.
And I think it's directed to departments on how they work, how it is to be enforced.
Okay. Right, some of those, as you know, have to be acted on, some of them can't be acted on until a certain time has passed, and when the
But I
check
just
is
think
considered.
that, I mean, I
Sure.
have issues with water
Sure.
department on a lot of bills there.
Well, what's your perspective? Would you rather have a shorter time beyond which the
No,
debts
I
are billing?
just need,
Interpretation.
interpretation of the
Okay.
bylaw and, what's the latitude, if there's latitude, or if it's case, it's got to be for the board, in case by case, this case, or if there's an outstanding balance, we don't entertain them for anything. So it's paid. But we just need a directive on it.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah, there's a section of Mass General Law that it follows, and I think we should just put together like a procedure and have you review it and then
Sure.
distribute it. And we should have it be certain, when the treasurer realizes bills or the water department or anybody has outstanding bills, that we collect that information somehow and then distribute it in some fashion to people that would like, issuing authorities.
Sure. Okay.
I'm putting my policy procedures hat on. We reviewed the policies that Diane put together, and we made a few changes and stuff like that. But going through the process of that handbook for the various committees and departments to use. I've been here on several occasions, and it seems to fall through the cracks sometimes, but we have a sexual harassment policy that has not been updated since 1997. We have a drug and alcohol policy that hasn't been updated since 1996. We are grossly overdue to have those reviewed, and we're also supposed to have some kind of clinics in here for our employees to know these kind of things. So
Okay,
I'd like to pursue this with the board's permission
sure.
and be able to talk to the town council about updating these and setting up some kind of clinic, what the cost is going to be involved with clinics. But I believe we are required to have both these policies current and supposed to have some kind of educational things either annually or biannually for our employees. We haven't had it, and I know we haven't had it since '97.
So when you say clinics, you mean training on sexual harassment?
Educational training and sexual harassment, drug and alcohol.
I know some departments are having, or some institutions actually have kind of not quizzes, exams. You get information, sort of like our ethics procedure we went through, and they do that on sexual harassment.
I think it's long overdue, and it's something that we reacted years ago on instances versus being proactive.
Right.
We need to be proactive with this. And I think, shame on us, we haven't done it in such a long period of time, which is, it's going to be a problem.
David, you
Ed, getting back to budgetary issues, you just mentioned quickly layoffs or furloughs. What have you drawn up for some sort of game plan so far?
I'm short roughly about $9,500.
That's wages?
Yeah, that's wages.
And is that, go ahead.
What we've done in the past is furloughs, layoffs. I do have 2 people leaving for, one's for retirement, and one person is leaving for a job with my own fire department. So there'll be 2 vacancies. I really want to fill them because we can't continue at this level without those people. And expect to have any kind of ability to function for the school and winter activities and these projects we have going. I do believe one of the senior man, to replace them, we'd probably save about $6,000 versus what his budget is for him now. So that'll help offset some of that. Okay. The second person, he's only been here 2 years, so there'll be a minor offset, but probably less than 1,000. But that's what's going on.
How do you think this is going to affect? We're rolling into storm season.
We're down these 2 bodies, and it's going to be very critical. Because right now, even with the 10 pieces of equipment we put out there, it's critical. We can't handle like we used to. We used to put 13, 14 people out there. So, I want to get back into those numbers at least. Private part-timers in and a couple of private contractors and stuff. Start filling that board up.
What is the
Town has grown over the last 14 years. The town has always grown by maybe 70 miles.
what is it? How difficult is it to get private contractors to come out and plow for you?
It's probably not difficult if you want to pay the rate. And equipment, very expensive. That's why we try to do as much as we can in-house. What we do is we put specs together. We put the rates together. The way Toyota does, what Sprinkler does, the Sprinkler does. They don't come in and bid on it. They come in and interview if they want to work for those rates. Okay. Versus giving us a bid to deal with. We set the rates based on same, like a 1-ton, reversible plow, 2-way radio, on the web frequency and our cell phone. These are all things that move up the price of the plow, so we have the ability to communicate and plow more efficiently. But they pay for their own gas, they pay for their own equipment, their own repairs. This past year, we used 2 vehicles like that.
one last point. There's graffiti on the crypt at the cemetery.
Yep.
That you get
Graffiti
reviewed.
under the bridge on Red Brook too. There's graffiti, probably 150 stop signs and warning signs.
But the one on the crypt, can somebody go over there and some green paint on the crypt? So we could just take that out. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Ed. Anything else?
Maybe.
Let me
Well,
just
just want
add to that about the
Sure.
graffiti. The graffiti on the bridge, the perpetrator has been identified, and we're seeking, a resolution and getting that removed or paid for to have it removed.
Have you seen the graffiti on the crypt at the cemetery? You have to actually go down the road to actually look straight at it because it's a dark green. Yeah, so I don't know if it's the same style of graffiti or not, same paint. Maybe it's the same person.
We're working over there right now, so we'll see what we can do.
Thank you.
I just want to reiterate to the board that I'd like to make sure we can continue this communication with this party and this recourse. I think it's important. We need to know as departments, what other departments are doing, what assistance we can lend to one another, and communication amongst ourselves, so we're not flat-footed and we don't know what's going on. And we're
Right.
prepared. And we're more prepared for the special situations.
Okay. Go
And
ahead.
the people that are leaving, when are they leaving?
The one's notice starts the 7th. He's got to go to the academy, fire academy, and he is taking 2 weeks of his vacation, which he always has. And I'm going to post him that, replace him that, so we're going to follow procedures. The other individual, he's leaving August 8th.
Realistically, when do we have to have somebody on board to have them trained? I know you need them now, but if we left a gap in between the meetings.
Well, but the process can be extended. I need to meet with policy procedures, approve the post and put it on, evaluate the in-house postings as well as the outsources, then make a recommendation and interview and submit to the selectmen, and sign the PCF. So it could be a month.
But I mean, we could, if there was a gap in there, not that you don't need it during the gap, but maybe we could make up some of that $9,000 just for short.
Probably can, but it's going to hurt us a lot. But we are, there's a lot of things we've picked up in the last 2 years. And we're working on this cemetery to cut that, especially this time. I got to put it off on the project, but we'll see what we can do.
Okay, all right, thank you very much for your participation.
Thanks, Ed.
Another department here to talk on behalf of their department, Chief Southampton, Police.
This, the police department's out of expense money. That wasn't unexpected with the expenses that we've incurred throughout the year, along with the low funding of the expense budget. I talked to the board about that during some of our previous meetings. Other than that, we still got some pieces of equipment that are out of service. The ski trail is out of service, still in need of repair. We have a rash of house breaks over the past 2 weeks to a month. They started off as daytime house breaks. I put some extra guys out on the daytime to try to address that. Since that time, we haven't had any further daytime breaks. It seems that we've pushed them to doing nighttime breaks. We've had some of the house breaks which the thieves entered the houses while the people were home. And they're making entry through unlocked doors, and we've had some screens removed and things like that. And we're also breaking into cars. So, other than that,
Person all right? Sorry to interrupt you, but somebody was coughing. Okay. Did you hear that?
Choking a little bit.
asthma.
Oh, okay. Sounded a little scary. Thank you.
Dave, Mike had a question.
David, if it doesn't hinder your investigation, what neighborhood, since we're being televised tonight, to put the word out to the public to be extra careful? I mean, we all could use a little more care in all the neighborhoods, but if there's a target area,
We've had them from former road Route 10 down through Palmer Meadow Road, Glendale Road area, Glendale Woods, Lynn Drive, Mountain View, Pleasant. There's been a variety. They're kind of moving around.
We think it's the same parties or parties?
It's hard to say. Some of them we do believe that are being done by the same persons.
Anything that we can put out to the public as to who they should be watching or what they should be watching?
Well, it's kind of difficult on the evening ones because folks are at home and they think that since they're home, they're safe, you know. On one of them, the gentleman's wife was entertaining some friends on the back deck. He was in the finished cellar watching television, and he heard the footsteps come into his kitchen, and the guy stole the lady's purses off the kitchen table. And then he heard the steps go back out. He thought that it was one of the guests.
But no vehicles or possible?
We don't have any vehicle descriptions. Nobody has reported any suspicious people. So the only thing that we can get out to the public is be vigilant and just call any and every suspicious car or person that they see. As a result of the efforts that we've made, I'll let the board know while we're talking about it. I have had one complaint from a citizen about their son being stopped a couple of times by officers on these daytime patrols. And I explained to those folks that, you know, that really can't be helped. We don't know if we're looking for somebody in a vehicle, on a bicycle, or on foot. Some information we've got is a bicycle may be involved. So the instructions I gave to the officers when they're out on these specific B&E patrols is to check everybody out, look at everybody. Back at the end of April into May, we had a report on a Monday morning about 10 a.m. of a suspicious character riding a bicycle right out here in one of the driveways. And I was able to catch up with the guy on East Street. And this was a gentleman who was almost 70 years old with wire-rimmed glasses, balding, and a white goatee, looked like a college professor. The guy was from Bulgaria, and he was currently living in Westfield, claimed that he couldn't speak any English, but he had a Visa card and some other, American credentials. But in speaking with the Westfield Detective Bureau, he was well known to Westfield as a notorious thief. And they were absolutely convinced that he was casing this house out to break into it. So we don't, know when we see somebody around, no one would give this particular person, elderly gentleman, a second thought. If you saw him riding a bike, you'd look at him and look away. Actually, who spotted the guy was one of our off-duty officers who thought something just didn't look right. He was familiar with the house, knew this guy didn't belong at that house, and so he called in on the cell phone, kept an eye on the guy until I could go out and intercept the guy. So we kindly escorted him back to Westwood. But we don't know who is doing these particular ones. Could be this guy and his family. According to Westwood, this guy, his entire family of notorious thieves. So,
Is there any pattern into what they take, as to what they steal?
Some of them they just targeted a laptop, and small electronics things that might not be immediately noticeable. But there's been jewelry, there's been, just about things, ordinary valuable things that they take, iPods, just, and you'd be surprised how many people who will leave their cars unlocked, leave their wallets in the car, leave other valuables in the car, leave cash in the car, and when they report the thefts, they say, well, I thought it was safe in Southampton to leave my car unlocked and leave my wallet there, But as I say, these nighttime break-ins, it's pretty gutsy of this thief to be doing this while people are in the house and moving around.
Right.
When's the last one we've had? Just how recent?
Last weekend, not this previous weekend, 2 days ago, the weekend before. And there have been some where they seem to be looking at parties where people have a gathering and the cars are all out front. There's different people going in and out, and so they're clearly getting around enough to be able to see different activities, and apparently on these ones where people are home, they're taking advantage of perhaps the unfamiliar faces at a gathering.
Okay, well, thank you for that information. Okay, fire department?
Well, fire department, just like everybody else, we're not getting any quieter. We're still doing a lot of business, and we've Our budget is, we've over spent on our expense part of our budget. We're going to make it through, I think, with our wages and whatever deficit we have. We have some other accounts where we have a couple dollars left over, so I think it will all balance out. But we're going to make it through. And our new truck, we're getting some pictures on that, and it looks like it's almost completed. I believe that it'll probably be delivered before its actual delivery date. So we look forward to getting that in. But again, we're getting a brand new truck, and we're going to have to take all our old equipment off of one of the other trucks to equip it. But other than that, everything's going pretty good.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have one last thing that I'd like to bring up. I would like to ask the board once and for all to be able to get to the bottom of this mysterious missing cruiser article that we really haven't been able to pin down as to why it was taken off the capital improvements list and by who. So I'd like to ask the board to set up a meeting with the capital improvement committee members, myself, the administrator, and the board, and let's get this put to rest once and for all.
Sure. I would also include the finance committee in that as well.
Certainly.
Okay, good.
Maybe one more question. Chief, you said you're out of expense money, but how much?
Yeah, do you have a number of dollars?
Well, right now, I'm estimating about $4,000 that could go higher as we finish out the end of the year and additional bills come in.
And wages are okay even with the extra patrols?
Yes, yes. This past year, I've gone to extraordinary efforts to try to cut back on shifts and overtime, and so we have a little bit of a surplus left over in wage account. And in fact, I've talked with the town accountant and the chairman of the finance committee today, and I'm going to request a transfer from wages into police expenses.
Which we did.
Okay.
So that 4,000 is covered?
Should be covered for now, and as I said, as the year continues to close out, there could be additional expenses.
And C5, you said your level, you're okay?
Yeah, we, I haven't done the payroll, our payroll for June ends tomorrow. And right now, we should be, I think we have enough money in our wage account to cover that. If not, I have, like in the chief's account, there's extra money, extra, I think, $1,000 there. So between the excess in a couple of the accounts, we should be covered within our department.
Okay, well, thanks all. Ruth, did you have anything from your department? Or?
Well, first of all, the owners, just go away with the owners. We met last night with, you're going to see a newspaper article about the owners. We wanted to kind of bring the board into the 21st century and let people know what it's for and that they can donate to us. Ann was there. It was a good meeting. There's going to be an article in the paper very shortly.
Great.
Eileen said I could speak for her. Do you want me to come back at 8 for the seal, or do you want to?
If you wouldn't mind, yeah, because we do have several things.
7:50.
Okay.
Yeah, just half an hour, is that okay? Thanks.
Thanks, Ruth.
Kim, are you here departmentally, or are you here?
Well, I'm departmentally, and I guess I'm also your liaison with the school committee. We don't have much going on right now, but our June 15th meeting, we think we're going to have about $20,000 to give back to the town and close out our books. We think. As of June 15th, that was the number. I haven't talked to Cindy since, so I don't know if it has gone down, but we were thinking it was probably about $20,000.
Well, we certainly appreciate that. Good. Okay.
Thank you.
Behind. Anybody else? Anything else? Departments? Oh, yes, sir.
I might be short of that.
Okay.
I don't know. I won't know that until.
Over on money and budgets, with the high school budget being passed, we're 30.
Mhm.
Is that what it is? So we're 30 in the hole with maybe 20 coming back. So I'm still 10 in the hole. Round numbers. So while that sounds good, I don't want to put it out that that's a pot of gold that we just found in the basement of the building. It's going to go to making up the shortage in the high school budget.
Okay, moving on then, joint meeting with Finance Committee. Are you duly opened?
And David Kelson.
I thought I had it lined up for that. The guy has $2 million. The guy has that $2 million liability policy.
It's that, you get that, and I get this.
So why don't you just fill it out for more and look at it more?
So I'm missing something there. We should all have, what, 3 pieces?
3 pieces or 4? Expense report, revenue.
There's- Thanks very much, and welcome to the end-of-year transfers.
Please.
David, looks like you're on.
If you have extras to spare.
We've done bigger amounts than this in the past.
I don't remember that. That's what I was just asking.
I think we've seen 100.
Okay, David, that's the check. I have a lot of them, so unless it's the revenue.
10, 2010, 30. True. Yeah, this is, ours on the one's miscellaneous.
Are you ready?
Okay, away we go. End of year transfers. Thanks everybody for being here. And Bob, you guys are duly opened and all that in session.
We're open, yes.
Okay.
Let me just start by taking out 2 documents. One is this
Schedule of proposed budget
budget
transfer.
transfer, and the other is the expense spreadsheet. 4-page thing. What I tried to do today is to, first of all, determine exactly where we stand as of tomorrow, because this includes this week's warrant that you haven't even seen yet, or you haven't signed yet.
Right.
But we posted it anyway, and we printed the checks so that we could get a printout that would be up to June 30th. And so that's what this is all about. And if you were to look at the single page, where it lists about 18 items that appear to be, not that appear, that are overdrawn as of June 30th, $83,000. And then we make one adjustment, which included in that $83,000 is school choice tuition, which is about 6 lines down on the left. That is $18,693. It is a deficit, but it's not a deficit that we have to cover in order to avoid losing some free cash, because that's a charge from the Commonwealth that comes off of our state aid. And so they allow us to have this negative number because it's not our fault, nothing to do with us. And so all we need to deal with is the $64,877. And if you look down, go through this 4-page deal, in the balance column, every single number that has a negative, a minus in front of it. Like the first one is 179.55. That is the first item on this single page list. And if you go down, every single one that has a negative number is on this separate list. And those are the numbers that add up to this $83,000. And also, if you look at the mix of this $83,000, you'll see two obvious things. One is the winter roads account, which we knew about and which we knew we had to cover. This, in fact, covers it. The $6,824 for wages and the $45,198 for expenses. And I think also, Diana, that this workers' comp number is a known thing too. That happened early on in the year. So there was no surprise there either. So that's $52, that's $59,000, and virtually puts all the rest of the stuff to be not much at all, which is a good thing. And so I just arbitrarily chose the two items at the top of the left-hand side of the page, vocational tuition and health insurance, because they seemed, if you look at those two accounts, vocational tuition is on page 2 of the 4-page printout, and there is in fact a balance of $60,000 in that account. And as long as we stay within 3% of the whole education budget, we can deal with that, and that would be like $240,000. So $50,000 is well within the legal amount you can take out of an individual department. And the second thing is health insurance, which we actually had before last year also, and that's on the 4th page of the handout. And you can see there that, at least to my understanding of this, we have $31,000 left in the health insurance account, and so I'm just taking the balance, which is at $14,877, to make up the $64,000 that we have to cover. And while we're on the subject of how our free cash could be affected at year end, if you look at the 2-page revenue printout, I'm willing to stick my neck out a little on the revenue side. On the expenditure side, there's no way to do it because it's just a little premature. I mean, just the school budget alone gives us a large accounts payable at year end, which I haven't gotten that number yet, and I'm sure we're going to get it in a couple of days, but we don't have it today. So that's a big distortion of what there is, because this shows on the expenditure side that there's still $392,000 left in the school account, and that's simply not true. But we don't know the bringing it down to the $20,000 that was just described. And we'll see. It'll be fun to see that. So if you look at this 2-page revenue printout, and I can very quickly go through what I think is safe in the taxes and excise, which is the first batch, right? And if you look at the balance in that account, it says that we actually are $10,000 to the good. That's not so terrible, except if you look at the mix up above that, and you'll see that in the real estate taxes line, we undercollected by $58,000, and in the motor vehicle excise, we undercollected by $35,000.
Is that by estimate or actual?
No, these are actual as of today. There's one more day, so we could have a bonanza tomorrow. But assuming we don't have a bonanza tomorrow, those are really bad numbers. But on the other hand, there's two numbers here that swing it in the other direction. And one is the tax liens redeemed, 57,000. That knocks off the 58. And there is interest and penalties on taxes, which is way over budget by $48,000, and that knocks off the motor vehicle excise. And so that's why, after all is said and done, you got $10,000 left.
But we
And-
could have close to $80,000 still coming in.
Pardon?
We could still have close to $80,000 still coming in as revenue.
If there's a long line tomorrow at the door, but I don't know that that's very likely. This is not a due date for the tax payments, so it's not like they're trying to beat something. It's something that we would like to see happen, but
So when, just for my own education, so when those collections are obtained, absolutely 30, does that come in then as under this free cash?
no, it comes in as revenue of next year.
Revenue next year, okay.
We have taken it on occasion in the past. You could update your free cash of this year with those subsequent collections, but that's gotten us into trouble, and it's not really,
I just didn't know where
Yeah.
it got accounted.
but that's the flow. Okay, so I'm saying on my little secret list that we got 10,000, let's say at the moment, from taxes and excise. Departmental revenues, you can look at the details. Two of them are big pluses, building permits and highway department. Ed can probably answer the highway department one, but those two together make up virtually the whole $44,000 that's the bottom line.
Right.
And we have it, so I'm saying, okay, that's a number that's safe, another $44,000. Yes, we can collect a little more tomorrow, but good. And then the third batch is state revenue. And there, if you look at the top of the second page, you'll see that we're down by $39,000, close to $40,000 in state aid. If you go back to the first page, you'll see that the first one is school transportation, which all towns have been clobbered. The amount of reimbursement for, actually, I think this is the vocational transportation, is a killer. I mean, we got $6,700 this year on a budget of $30,000, and that's correct. That's all we're going to get. And so that $23,000 hurts. The next item is a positive one, Medicaid reimbursement, $8,000. That's to the good. The veterans benefit number of minus $6,000 could be because there's timing differences on that. But I don't know that for sure. And if we were to get something in July, for instance, that was clearly covered this year, we would move it back into this year.
So David, that police career incentive just above veterans benefits, is that the twin bill which is not being funded?
Yes, but the amount that is ridiculous.